Okay, remember, do these problems before you start these videos. These videos are not meant for you to write along with it. You should have it completed first. So here's an extra triangle congruence assessment. So here's what I recommend you do. Always read what they tell you is congruent. So they tell you that these two triangles are congruent. So I always stack those letters right on top of each other. So A, B, C, right on top of D, E, F, because then you could easily see which parts correspond to each other. So when you look at this, the A and the D correspond to each other, the B and the E correspond to each other, and C and the F correspond to each other. And that means that the lengths of those, or the measures of those, or whatever you're talking about, if you're talking about the angle, or maybe if you're talking about a segment from A to B, that's going to match from D to E. So you have a bunch of matching parts. So if I look at this picture, before I even look at what they want me to figure out, I can go ahead and fill in everything I already know that matches. So let's go ahead and fill them in. So this angle C right here is the same as angle F. So I can't see that one right there. So that means that F is 41 degrees. So I'm going to fill that in because that's something I know. This 92 is E, so E matches B. So I just look at my little key here, and so I know this B has to be 92 degrees also. I also know from A to C, so from A to C, that's this piece to this piece, has to be the matching the same as D to F. So from A to C is 13.5, so I can go to D to F. D to F. D to F right here is also 13.5. And I have, what else do I have? I have this 17, and that's from F to E. So from F to E is 17 long, so F to E is right here, so that matches B to C. So I'll find B to C, so I also know that that's 17. So all I did was fill stuff in that matches. Matching, super duper easy. Now I want to be able to find the measure of angle D. So the measure of angle D is right here. So I actually don't have it, and D matches A, so I look at my other picture, I didn't have it up here either. But I do know that the sum of the interior angles, so that means the three inside angles, 1, 2, and 3, have to add up to be 180 degrees. So that means I got 41 plus 92. So far that gives me 333. So I need to do basically, what does this question mark have to be to equal 180 degrees? So you can guess and check. You could do whatever you want, or I could just take 180 and subtract off 133 degrees. And I'm going to get this missing number to be 47 degrees. So that means the measure of angle D equals 47 degrees. And I could put 47 right here on my picture. I could put 47 right here on my picture. And then I could add all three of these up inside. 47 plus 92 plus 41, same as these here, and that should add up to be 180 degrees. And it does. Okay, next one. Remember, don't play this video if you haven't already done this problem. So basically we're seeing, it says for triangle, the 4 triangles below, label each given corresponding part an A or an S. So I'm going to go ahead and crank out some A's and S's right now. Angles are the little V shapes, right? And sides are the segments. So this little V shape, that's an A. This is a side. This is a side. These are all A's. Those are all degrees. Angles are measured in degrees. Sides are measured in lengths. This over here is going to be a side. This is an A. This is an A. This is an A. This is a side. This is a side. So I did this, and you can color code to match these if you want. These are all sitting the exact same orientation though as this first picture, so I'm not going to bother color coding. Hopefully you did it yourself already. It says on the line below each, determine if any of them are congruent to this triangle up here by stating the congruence theorem or postulate. So in other words, you have to write SAS, SSS, ASA, AAS, HL, or none of the above. here's the deal. HL, what do you need for HL? You need a 90-degree angle. So were there any 90-degree angles in any of these? There are not. So basically that is off the table for these problems because there are no 90s anywhere in this, in no little corner boxes. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So the pieces I have are two S's and an A. So two S's and an A, that means it could be this one, and that's it, right? So it can only be a SAS. So we're going to be checking for SAS. Now remember, if you have SAS, that means your angle has to touch both of these S's. Look how it's written. You see the A is touching both of the S's? So we need to look at our picture and ask ourselves, is this A right here touching both of our S's? Here's one of our sides, and here's one of our sides. So is our A touching both of these green sides? And the answer is, it is touching this one. It is not touching that one. So that means that we have none. The next one is AAA. So the pairs I have are AAA. Is that even an option up in my list? No, it's not even an option. So you should have written none. This picture here, we have an A and an S. So that is two A's and an S. So look in my list. It could be this one or this one. So it could be either of these two pink ones. So let's check them both. Now remember, if I want it to be AAS, then that means that only one side is touching this A right here. So it's, and if the other one, if I had ASA, then that means the side is touching both A's. So look, see how this side is touching that A and that A? Okay, so let's look at our picture. So we want to know if our side, I'll color him purple, is touching both of our A's. Is it touching this A and this A? So is our purple piece touching both of our green A's or just one of them? Clearly the purple is touching this green A here, but not this green A over here. So that means it is AAS because only one side, you see this side is only touching one A. So this is the winner. The last one, we have two S's and an A. So looking at my list, two S's and an A, it can only be that one, right? Two S's and an A. So it can only be side, angle, side. So in order to check that, we need to know, is our A touching both of our S's? So is our A right here touching both of our S's? Clearly this green A is touching this pink S and the other pink S. So winner, winner, chicken dinner. We have side, angle, side congruence. Okay, on the back side. So remember, the directions say you're supposed to color code, you're supposed to label these A's and S's, and you're supposed to write down any reasons if they're not given. Okay, so let's look at this first picture. So in this first picture, you can clearly see my two triangles, right? But I actually don't have anything because these arrows mean parallel, not congruent. Remember, you can have parallel lines. You see these two lines? These are parallel, but they're not congruent. This one is shorter than the other one. So parallel does not mean congruent. So don't put those as S's. These are not S's. S means like these tick marks, congruent. That's when we're allowed to put it. So we actually don't have anything here, but we do have some parallel lines. So when we have parallel lines, we can look for a Z. So you see the Z right here. I'm going to make the Z orange. So as long as the top of my Z and the bottom of my Z are the parallel lines, I can make the Z, and then I look in the cracks of the Z's. So here's a crack, and here's a crack. So those are alternate interior angles. So I can say that I have an A and an A by alternate interior angles. Okay, so in my pairs, I now have an A. Okay. Now, what else do I have in this picture? I have another pair of parallel lines. So since I have a second pair of parallel lines right here and right here, I can use those parallel lines to find another Z. And you could see him if you tilt your head. He is sideways. He's green. Do you see him? Z. So that means the reason for that one is another pair of alternate interior angles, and those are congruent. So I look in the cracks of that Z and I find this angle and this angle are congruent to each other, so I labeled those both A's. So I'd have a second pair of A's. So I have two A's so far. I don't have any other sides. There's nothing else labeled. I don't have any other angles, nothing else labeled, but remember that this pink side of the top triangle and this pink side of the bottom triangle are the exact same piece, exact same line on top of each other. They need to be on top of each other if it's the exact same one. So remember, why put an X on that? Because that is the reflexive property. There's an X in that. That's my reflexive property, and that gives me this pink side congruent to this pink side. So I have two A's and an S. Now remember, I have to ask myself from my list, that could be an AAS or an ASA. I'm not sure, I gotta check it. Now remember what you do, you have to ask yourself, is your side touching both A's? So is your side touching this A and this A, or is your side only touching one A? So that's how you decide which one it is. So remember, you only look at one of the triangles. So I'm going to look at this blue guy on the top. And I have to ask myself, is my side, which is this S right here, is this side touching both of my A's? So here's my side. I'll make it in blue. And both of my A's. This is the A I have, and this is the A I have. So is my blue side touching both of my blue A's? The answer is yes. So which one of these is it? This one, because the side is touching that A and that A. So this is an ASA, triangle congruence. And I have my reasons for everything that was not marked. I just color-coded them. All right, next picture here. Take a look at this. We do have some givens. Given means that they're already marked. This is congruent to this. Boom, boom. That is a side. Remember, sides. Sides look like this. Angles look like this, right? Okay, so those are clearly sides, segments. I also have this box and this box. What are those things? Those are 90-degree angle right angles, right? So since they're both 90, that gives me an A. So in my pairs, I have those orange A's because both 90 means they are congruent. I have a pair of S's that was given to me, and that's all that's labeled given. I'm not going to look for a Z like I did here because I don't have parallel lines. You're only looking for Z's if you know things are parallel, which means you got little baby arrows, or they tell you in words. They didn't tell you any of that, so don't look for a Z. But remember from a long time ago, at the beginning of the year, we have an X in the middle right here. Remember, we have an X. Those are vertical angles. And these are angles. These are A's. So don't talk about this blue line and this blue line. Those are not angles. Angles are the little V shapes. So we're going to look for angles. So the angles that are across from each other inside the cracks of the S. So this angle right here is congruent to this angle right here. So I'll mark those with little arcs. So I do have a pair of A's, and my reason was that. So I have two A's and an S. So that means I could be looking for ASA, or I could be looking for AAS. Those are both options here. So remember, you got to look at one of the triangles because you're trying to decide, is your S touching both of the A's like in this one, or is your S touching just one of the A's like in this one? So remember, only look at one triangle. I'll look at this top pink guy. Okay. So let's take a look at him. So look at our side. Our side is pink. This angle's orange and this angle's blue. So are both of our angles touching this pink side? So this pink side, it looks like the orange angle is, but is the blue angle ever touching this pink? No. So that means only one angle is touching a side. Only one angle. So this side is only touching one angle. So this one's the good one. This one, see, this side would be touching both angles, and that is not what we have here. So it's going to be this one. Number 5, let's take a look at this picture. I have a given side. So this green's, oh, that's blue. This blue side is matching this. That's a given. So in my pairs, I have an S, right? Let's go ahead. What else do we have here? We have this side in the middle. You see how this side and this side are the exact same thing for the top triangle and the bottom triangle? Exactly the same. X, exactly the same. That is a reflexive property. And that is clearly a line segment. So that is a side. So this is an S, a pair of S's. All right, and what else do we have here? We have this box here. Now, if this box means it's a right angle, so 90 degrees, does this one here also have to be 90 degrees? The answer actually is yes. You can put a box right here. This one also has to be 90 because remember, this is a half circle. This is a linear pair, right? And linear pairs have to add up to be 180 degrees. So if this top one's 90, this bottom has to be 90 in order for the whole thing to be 180. So we do have a matching pair of A's. So we have a matching pair of A's. Now you see this is a bad word, backwards, and we don't do bad words forward or backwards, but what other option might it be with two S's and an A? Two S's and an A could be side angle side, right? So side angle side would mean that the angle is touching this S and this S. So remember, only look at one triangle. I'm going to look at this bottom triangle. Okay, so is my side, he's orange, touching, oh wait, is my angle's pink, sorry, is my angle touching both of my sides? Is this pink touching my orange side and my blue side? Well, it looks like my orange side does come in and touch that pink angle, but does this blue side ever touch this pink angle? No. So we do not have this. We do not have side angle side. We never have bad words. But remember, whenever you had a right angle, what do we say to check for? If you have a right angle, always check for HL, right angle. And so you actually need three things. You need a right angle, which we do clearly have. Now we have to look at this pink triangle that we picked and ask yourself, do you have the hypotenuse of that? So this is my right angle. Remember, hypotenuse is across from it. Do I have this one? Yep, see him right there. So I do have the hypotenuse. And then you have to ask yourself, do you have one of the other legs? Now, one of my legs is this one over here, which I do not have. But the other leg is this one here, which I have right there. So I do have hypotenuse leg right angle. Last picture. Let's see what we got here. We have some matching pieces already. We got this blue guy matching this blue guy. Those are S's, right? I have a pair of blue S's. Boom, boom. See, this guy's marked. This guy's marked. You see, I'm not writing these unless they're marked. Like over here, I might think that this side is congruent to this side, but there's no information there. So you can't just like mark stuff up because you think so. Okay, so I've got two S's given, right? Now we also know we have this side, this piece in the middle and this piece in the middle. Match on the top and the bottom triangle, the exact same piece. Exactly. What property is that? This is a side, correct? it's clearly a segment. So we have a third S, and we would have to write reflexive property. And we have side, side, side. And order does not matter about anything. A side, side, side is a side, side, side. So that's what we got.